Welcome to Game Plan Monday. It is our last Game Plan Monday of 2025, and I am excited to be diving into some new challenges coming in at 2026, starting with our 75 Planned Challenge. So I know that we have been talking about this for the last 5 weeks. This being the 5th week, we are breaking down each of the components of the 75 Plan Challenge, including the dump it, plan it, do it. Last week we talked about track it, and this week we are going to be talking about reflecting. And reflection, and my membership people have heard this a bazillion times over, but reflection is probably the number one thing that gets missed in the planning aspect. It's great that you take time to write down all of the things that you need to get done, all the goals that you set, and all of the things that you want to do. But if you're not taking time at the end of each day, or at least at the end of each week, to reflect on what it is that you have accomplished over the course of the week, what barriers you had come up, what successes and wins you had, then you are really missing the point of planning in general. And that's what we're diving into this week when we're talking about reflection and the purpose that it can serve in your planning and how it reflects or works in the 75 Plan Challenge. So welcome to Game Plan Monday. My name is Wendy, and we are diving into the last phase of the 75 Plan Challenge, which is reflective. Reflection doesn't have to be deep. It doesn't have to be perfect. It can be one sentence. It can be one reminder. It can be one phrase. It could be an entire thing where you ask yourself questions and then you go through the process of answering those questions and then determining whether or not those questions have validity in your life. And I'm actually going to walk you through my reflection. I do a reflection every single week. I do utilize the Tool of 12 Rest and Reflect insert, but I do the reflection questions in my journal so that you guys can kind of see what that process looks like. I also give myself a summary. So, and for that, I use ChatGPT. I have created a GPT that is, her name is Sage, and her whole point is to help with the planning aspect, taking a list and being able to provide it in a manner that allows you to break down your list and determine how long it takes you to do certain things or fit that into your particular schedule. She also helps with the summary aspect, which is part of the reflection. So she takes the reflection that I give her, like I take a picture of the reflection that I do, and she gives me a summary, things that I might not have noticed throughout the course of the week, things that I need to be working on moving into the next week, and then also gives me a reminder of what I kind of learned about myself and a quote for the day. Sometimes she gives me a word as well, and you're going to see that today as I take you through this whole process of doing a full reflection. So it should be very simple. A reflection isn't something that needs to take, excuse me. Mine sounds like it takes hours and hours, and it really doesn't take hours. It takes about 15 minutes for me to do, but it doesn't necessarily need to do that at all. It can be simple. It can be grounding. It can be in a journaling session. It can be something that you do at the end of the night so that you can kind of take a look at, hey, what were my wins today? What were my challenges today? And give yourself an opportunity to really think through that process. Words in general shape how we think, how we respond, how we support ourselves. Often we hear, we heard the sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. And we know that's not true because words have great power. We've seen that through, bullying aspects and things that are happening to the teenage world and the younger generation, and with cyberbullying and all of those things, because that isn't physical, that is all words. And so words have huge power. And when you write something supportive in your planner, you're not being cheesy. You're not, it's just for you. People aren't going to be looking at it and being like, oh my gosh, that's so cheesy. Your planner's already something that you look at. I hope your planner's already something that you look at. And words placed there can help you to have repeated exposure. They give you a place. I look back through my journal week after week after week to see the things that I've learned, where I've come from, because I use my journal also as an opportunity to share pictures and to reminisce and do a little bit of journaling. It's kind of my dump all. It incorporates my planning, my journaling, my scrapbooking, all of that encompasses. And so I am constantly going back and looking through mine over and over and over again. Plus, I want to share with you something that I plan on doing in 2026 that has to do with my word of the year and how that can be utilized in your planner as well. So I'm going to go ahead and switch my screen. We're going to take a look at what a weekly review looks like. So this is my journal. I am currently using a Tula 12 journal to do my journaling, planning, all of the things in. And you can kind of see starting from the very beginning, this is what my dump it looks like, my planet. Each individual day has its own plan and do it where I'm marking things off and then tracking. The tracking doesn't necessarily happen in this portion, but you can see it's kind of along the lines of all the things that I talked about. But at the end of the week, I do a weekly review and I ask myself a series of questions. 3 things that went right this week. And then I just list those 3 things. What drained me? What are some of the things that I learned about myself that drained me and might have frustrated me, brought me to my knees, challenged me? And it could be mentally, physically, emotionally. It could be all kinds of things. Then the next question that I ask is, what gave me energy or brought me joy? How did I take care of me this week? Sometimes it's in a list. This was a very, very long list. And sometimes it's just a short list. What surprised me this week? Sometimes I talk about what surprised me at work, like my real 9-to-5 job. Sometimes I talk about the things that surprised me about my business. Sometimes I talk about the things that surprised me on a whole level. What did I complete that I had planned? So I kind of break down based on my list, what did I get completed over the course of the week? And then what didn't I get done and why? Looking at my list that I had for the week, what didn't get accomplished and why didn't I get those things done? You will see that this week I didn't get a lot done. And then something I'm excited about. So for this week, I'm excited to be watching the finale of Stranger Things with my son, starting a new year, starting in a new journal, and beginning the 75 Plan Challenge. Then I do the summary portion. So I take a picture of this page and the page before, and I take it over to Sage, and I said, Sage, give me a summary of what you see from this information. And then I kind of read that over and then I write it in my own words, what I feel like I learned this week. So for example, summary says, this week is about permission. Permission was the word that she gave me. This one was specifically highlighted in the passage that she gave me. And I really liked that word. So I highlighted it myself. Permission to rest, to disconnect, to be present without explaining myself to anyone. I made a conscious decision to step back from the noise and all the things, realizing that nothing fell apart while I was away. I made sure to prioritize family time, personal time, doing the things I wanted to do rather than things I felt I needed to. Being busy wasn't serving me. It was stressing me out. It makes me more inspired to bring this into 2026 with me. So all the things that I kind of learned this is just about this last week that I had. Then I do weekly insights. So this is taking out this bits and pieces that I learned. Rest without guilt is possible. Being present matters more than being visible. Disconnection brings clarity. Emotional presence is more important than all the stuff on my list. And then a focus for next week. So ease back into structure because I've been off for 5 days. So you got to get back into the swing of things. Protect intentional quiet time. Choose what actually matters before choosing productivity, and let presence guide my pace, not pressure to perform, which are all huge things that I needed to realize over the course of this last week. And then I gave myself a reminder, what matters most is not how much you do, but how fully you show up for the moments that count for my people, for my business, and for me. My people being my family, my coworkers, my membership people, my people. Okay. And then the last thing that I get is a quote from Sage that she helps me to kind of tie everything together. So there's a way of listening that does not seek to fix, control, or direct, but simply allows space for something new to appear. And this one was by John O. Donahue. So in that, it allows me to be able to find a space in my journal each week where I can do that reflection piece and really think about what it is that I want to accomplish moving into the next week based on the lessons that I learned this week. And going into 2026, I also created another GPT that's in my membership group. Her name is Clarity. We've been using her in a little mini workshop that I did there. I was going to do a big one here on my business page, and I opted not to do that this year because I wanted to work on the 75 plans challenge instead. And so we've been talking about building our word of the year and utilizing it to set our goals on a 12-week goal cycle. And so we created something called the EFFIT filter. And so this is something that I created, and I made it on sticky paper, and this has 4 weeks worth of stickies to add right into my journal. I can cut them, and it's on sticker paper, so I can just put it right into my journal. But it says my word of the year, and then allows me a place to write it, because rewriting it, that repetition, that is something that's fantastic for learning. It's like rote memory. Once you write it over and over and over again, it starts to stick with you. So my word of the year is become. And so I would write become in that square. In flourishing handwriting and messy handwriting, whatever the case may be, you just write it in there. And then each week you do a little mini reflection about your word of the year using the EFFIT filter. So EFFIT stands for fit. Does this word fit my real life right now? So does it embody who I am at this particular moment, the end of this week? Focus. Does this word help me decide what matters today? Did I go through that, utilizing that word as a way for me to build my list and determine what was important for me moving forward throughout the day? The next one is feeling. When I think about this word, I feel. So in the course of the week, how did that word make me feel? And then future, does this word support who I'm becoming? And yes, it says becoming at the end, but it really is become. So does this word support who I am and what I want to accomplish moving into 2026 or throughout this week in 2026? And the very last question, which doesn't have anything to do with the EFFIT filter, is did I honor my word this week? One way I can realign for next week. So did you honor your word throughout the course of the week? Yes or no? And then one way that you can realign if it did not. So again, this is just a fun little sticker that I'm going to put right into my planner that I can utilize. This is something that my membership people got. And so if you want it, you have to be a member. I might have a side door. Just have to email me at wendy@canninplannin.com. But I want to end this today by thanking you guys so much for hanging out here on the business page or YouTube, wherever you're watching Cannin Plannin. And I look forward to participating in the 75 Plan Challenge with you guys moving into the new year. And it will be housed in a couple of different places. I will be doing it on my TikTok, Instagram business page. I'll probably be talking about it in other places, and it will start on January 1st. Again, it is a 5-step system that you will do every single day, and there'll be a small quick video that will kind of explain a little bit more. I know I've talked about it in detail over the last 5 weeks, but if you want to incorporate that on a day-to-day basis, we need to break it down a little bit more. So there's going to be a video about that. But it will include the 5 phases, which are dump it, plan it, do it, track it, and reflect it, and how that fits into your day-to-day. And hopefully it helps you get into your planner a little bit more in 2026, because there's nothing worse than buying a brand new planner for the new year and then only using it for 10 to 15 days. We want you to be able to use it more, get more out of it, and be able to feel accomplished and successful in 2026. Thank you again for hanging out with me, friends, and I'll see you all soon.